Dan Graziano had in his news and notes, his update that he posts along with Jeremy Fowler every week, that the Cowboys as it stands now are on a collision course for the franchise tag with George Pickens, which I believe is $29 million roughly. And this makes the most sense that a franchise tag is where things are. I think, gosh, all the way back in the summer, probably, Nick, we were looking at this and saying the likeliest outcome is he gets tagged, and they kind of figure out what to do from there. But I would certainly not trust them to negotiate this on an open market. So a tag makes a ton of sense. He, as Dan Graziano called it, a strong likelihood, which as soon as you reach the trade deadline, you didn't make a move there. Not that there was a huge likelihood you would move on from George Pickens, but you didn't make a move there. You still don't have a contract extension done. Now we're looking at, all right, tag him, and let's figure out what we do from here.
Yeah, and I would view a tag as more so a placeholder to be able to figure out what to do with George Pickens deeper into next offseason. So you place that tag on him, that would be March. And it would allow you to still work through an extension all the way up until training camp, or even through training camp, considering how these last few years have gone. And you have to factor in the agent. I know it's something that's kind of ad nauseum at this point, but you do have to factor it in, and the recent relationship that has been built off of that. You know, I think David Mulligetta's done a good job of expressing to the public that it's not going to affect any future negotiations with the club, but you know, it still has to be factored into this ordeal. And you know, is it going to be a situation where he's advising his client to hold out until there is a long-term extension done? George Pickens, if he's able to finish the season how he started it here through 9 games, he would have every right to, you know, and he would have earned that money from that one season that he had here in Dallas. And granted, he's on pace for over 1,000 yards and leading this team in touchdowns, so he would have to keep that pace in my eyes. But, you know, what does a contract look like for George Pickens? I think that's going to have to be the question that the Cowboys will answer. And is the $34 million per year that CeeDee Lamb is making, is that the floor for George Pickens, or is that the ceiling? And I think that's going to be a very big question that both sides will have to answer during that negotiation.